Hi Stampers, Jackie Bolhuis from Klompen Stampers. We are going to play with the Good Morning Magnolia stamp set today. I have a fun window card to share with you. There's kind of a lot going on, which means there's a lot that I get to teach you while I make this card. Now, I always talk about making quick and easy cards. I'm going to tell you this card is easy. It's not quite quick. It takes a little bit longer than my quick and easy ones, but there's nothing hard about it. So don't be intimidated when you see a card that has a little bit more stamping and layers and cutting and coloring and such on it. We're going to stamp, we're going to use Stampin Blends to color with, we're going to use some dies to make a window card. I think you're going to like it. And make sure you hang on all the way till the end because I'm going to give you a sneak peek of my August online class. Guess what set it's featuring? You guessed. Good Morning Magnolia. You are not going to want to miss this class. Awesome projects, fun ways to use this stamp set. It's an awesome bundle, I got to tell you. So I'm going to have another fun project for you on Monday using it. And then on Wednesday, we'll see the online class. So let's flip the camera down and let's get stamping. We're going to start out by looking at the card today so you know what we're in for, because we kind of have a lot of parts and pieces and different things we're going to do. Like I said, not hard, just takes a little bit longer. So we're going to work through this card step by step. It's really quite easy, to be honest. Okay, we are using a combination of two different stamp sets. So Good Morning Magnolia, which like I said, this is what I'm featuring in my August online class. So stay all the way till the end so that you see some of the projects in that class. And then there's also Magnolia Blooms. This is just kind of a smaller version of this stamp set. And if you haven't seen this one in the catalog, it's because it's in the Experience Creativity brochure. Now, I do have a link over on my website that you can download this brochure. Some of the products in here, like this, are in the big catalog, but there's a few items in here that are only in this brochure. And one is this Magnolia Blooms stamp set. It works great on its own. These work great on its own, but today we're going to combine them because of the coordination. We're going to combine them and use them both on our card. So let's set that aside. And I think the first thing we're going to do is start out and make our little window piece here. Now this is 4 by 5 1/4. Now don't worry about having to remember all of these measurements because over on my website, I'll have the card recipe that will list all the supplies that I'm using as well as all of the measurements so that you'll be able to cut out all the pieces if you want to make this. Now, what I say, 4 by 5 1/4. So for this one, this is our front panel and I'm going to randomly stamp the smaller flower, which is from the smaller set, the Magnolia Blooms stamp set. And I want to make sure it's random and filled in nice and tight. So what I'm doing is spinning my cardstock around. Okay, that helps make things random because otherwise we tend to do it all exactly the same. And that doesn't look as good as, you know, when these flowers are going all different directions like they would out in nature. So let's fill this in good and tight. I really don't want much for white space at all. And I'm trying to not overlap the flowers. Okay, we want a nice crisp black and white image for each one of these. Now, as I go around, if the very center isn't filled in, that's fine because of what we're going to do with this card to make a window here. So let's get that one in there. Okay, I think we're pretty filled in there. So now I have my stitch shapes dies. So with this set, you get some circles, some squares, and some ovals. And I have 2 of the circles that nest together. So this is the largest one in the set and the next one. Now we're going to set the smaller, nope, actually we're going to use the smaller one. Set the larger one aside. And I'm going to take this over to my die cutting machine and I need to cut a circle out of the center of this. So let me do that a second. Here we go. So we're going to just pop that out. This piece is actually scrap. We're not going to use this, so you could save it for another project. So let's set that aside. Okay, next we're going to make our little black frame, and this is where I'm using the largest and then the one step down. And we're going to just put those together like so on the scrap paper, eyeball to center that one, and then we're going to run it through the die cutting machine. Now, as a reminder, Stampin' Up! Currently is not selling a die cutting machine. We'll have one again someday, but our dies do work on any of the die cutting machines that are out there. So we can go ahead and take that. Again, this piece is extra. We don't need that because the one we really want is the little frame that we made. And I like using these stitched ones because then you get the little stitched line there. Now we're going to come back. Oh, that's kind of, you know what? Let's move this because that's kind of distracting. We'll flip it over. So we're going to take this piece and we are going to glue it on to the one that we stamped. Now I like the liquid adhesive for this, but you want to make sure you use very little dots all the way around. It doesn't take much and you don't want it gooshing. But for stuff like this, it makes it really easy because it does slide a little bit until it sets up. So you can move it around until you get it. Oops. It's sliding a little bit too much on me. There, I think that's where I want it to be. Nope. Let's see, there we go. Want to make sure it's in the right spot there so it covers that whole opening, and then press it down good and it's going to stick on there. So there is the frame part of it. Now we're going to want the words happy birthday popping up from underneath there. So what I'm going to do is use the happy birthday stamp, which is from that smaller set, Magnolia Blooms, same one that this flower is in. And I am going to stamp it kind of randomly on the scrap paper. And then I can move this around to get this where I want it. Now the little trick here, and I tried to make this as simple as possible. I'm going to use dimensionals. And I'm going to go right next to the opening on that top layer piece. Yes, we are using a lot of dimensionals, but hey, they're cheap. Add a couple packs on your next order. Make sure you never run out because that would be a shame. There you go. So we're going to peel all of these off. There we go. Now, again, remember, this is just scrap. And I am going to go ahead and with those dimensionals, they're right underneath the black there. I'm going to get this so that happy birthday is way over on the right side there, and then go ahead and stick it down. Now, like I said, there's probably more scientific methods, if you want to call it that, is to get that the right size and get it placed. But I found this works easy because now all I'm going to do is take my snips here and I'm going to go underneath and I'm going to just trim off this extra cardstock because all I really needed was for it to show underneath that window piece. What am I doing here? So there we go. And if you want to, make sure on these sides that you trim a little extra off there because we want to make sure we have room to adhere this down to our card. So there we go. There is our front panel. Okay, let's set this aside. And then I've already stamped the large image from Good Morning Magnolia. I always think of the Good Morning show or whatever. So I've stamped it. Make sure when you're using Stampin' Blends, you use the Memento ink because that will not smear with the blends, which are an alcohol marker. And I like to always use them in pairs. So we have the light and the dark. This is the Rococo Rose. You've seen me color quite a bit recently with blends. I'm loving coloring. And usually I use the smaller tip. But for this big flower, I found that actually using the brush tip tends to work a little bit better for the light color. Otherwise, you could be here forever coloring. So what I do is I go petal by petal, and we're going to color it in real light pressure. You don't need to press real hard on that. Then take your darker one, and I like to just go on the lines that Stampin' Up! Has given us on the image here. So that kind of tells you where the shading is. And then come back with that lighter color and blend over it. So then we'll do, like I said, one leaf at a time because that's what makes it blend the best. You know, we'll do some dark down here and up there. The darker one, I do have the bullet tip, and that's why you can hear kind of that scrubbing. And that one you can press harder on. With the brush tip, you want to make sure that you're a little bit lighter handed on it. Okay, so I'm going to just go ahead and color this all in for you. There we go on that color. So let's make sure we put the tops on. Remember with blends, snap that top on. And then we're going to just take the yellow here. I think I have the light daffodil. And we'll just put some yellow on the center. And then we have light and dark for our stem of soft suede. So here again, we'll put dark or light, put a little bit of dark in there, and come back with that light and color that in. And then for the leaves on this one, we're going to use Granny Apple Green. Now, when you see the cards for the online class, you'll notice that I used completely different colors. So that's why I wanted to do these little bit brighter colors on this one. The online class, I like to stick to the colors that are in the designer series paper. Number one, you know they're great colors that go together, but then that way, if we're using the designer series paper on the cards, you know that it matches. So this one, since I was not using the paper, I thought we'd use this really nice, fun, bright colors. So I'm doing the exact same thing on the leaves. Okay, I hope as you've been watching me color here in fast motion, you've noticed that I do keep it really simple with my coloring. But the blends are so great for just giving you a few different shades and blending in there that you don't get all the marker lines. They color beautifully. Now, we're going to take the die that goes with this, and we're going to go ahead and cut that out with the die cutting machine. There we go. So we can just pop that out. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this onto this front panel using dimensionals. Now, once again, lots of dimensionals. But before I do that, I'm going to kind of eyeball. We're going to have this part running off the edge, so I don't want to put dimensionals out there. So we'll just stay away from the tips of those. Now, as I flip this over, you'll see how when you stamp with the blends, and you should be using Whisper White for this, okay, it is the best paper for it. It does bleed through, so you have to kind of be mindful. You know, you wouldn't want to color on a layer that you're going to, you know, open up the card and see that. So be a little bit mindful of that. And then we're going to go ahead and take these off. There we go. And then when I put this on here, I'm going to just move this around. I don't want to cover up Happy Birthday. And we'll stick that on like so. Okay, we've got those dimensionals. And it is, oh, we got one a little bit too far out there. That's okay. We're going to cut this off anyway. So now what I'm going to do is take this to my paper cutter, or you could use a scissors, and you're going to just trim right along the edge there. I use my paper cutter, so now you can see this is scrap, but there is the front of our card. Now let's go back to our original. All I did now was I stuck this down using dimensionals out along. You know, you need to get dimensionals out here, and then you could actually even put some liquid on there because this is going to be flat on the black. But I just adhered it onto the front of a black card. And then on the inside, I add another panel. Here I put the flower from the Magnolia Blooms, the smaller set, colored it with the blends. Enjoy Today is from the smaller set. So you can see how I really combine the two stamp sets there that coordinate together to make a birthday card. Now, what you've been waiting for, let's take a peek at the cards that you're going to make in the online class that I have coming up in August. If you haven't participated yet in one of my classes, you might want to check it out in August. It's going to feature this Good Morning Magnolia bundle. I'll have a list of all the supplies you need to make the class. And then the class actually consists of tutorials for 12 different cards. I have 6 of them here that I'm going to share with you. And then the other 6 are bonus projects. These 6, I'll have a video that goes along with them showing you everything you need to know to make the cards. So we're going to start out with that one, and they are all stamped on the inside as well. Your tutorial will show pictures of the inside and the outside, but I wanted to use a lot of the different dyes and colors and everything that's part of the suite. This stamp set is absolutely gorgeous. So those are the 6 cards that make up the class. Like I said, you'll get the tutorial plus video tips on these, plus 6 more project tutorials. So you're going to have 12 completely different projects. Now, just for kicks, here's some other ones I made. These aren't part of the class. I'll feature these on the blog at some point in time. But I just really wanted to show you how you can stamp forever and ever and ever. There, I just used some of that beautiful paper for these cards. Great stamp set. Now remember, today's projects, I veered off on the colors. Okay, I used the Mossy Meadow and the Puddle Pink. I had to think about that one because those are the colors in the designer series paper, but it's super fun because these flowers you really could color in any color. So watch for all the details on that class. Remember, you can get it for free when you place an order with me from August 1st through 10th. Otherwise, the tutorial will be available just to purchase. All those details will be posted on August 1st, but today I just wanted to give you a sneak peek. So hope you like today's projects, and as always, if you have questions, get a hold of me. Let me know. I'd love to help you with any stamping needs I have, and I would love to be your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. If you'd like to place an order, you can hop on over to the website, and if you need a catalog, you can request one over there as well. I'd love to send you one. So until I stamp with you again, have a stamp happy day.